In December, the African National Congress former military wing, Umkhonto weSizwe, will turn 60. Since the body was integrated into the South African National Defence Force in 1994, the ANC has just been struggling with how to repurpose or remember its significance. The party is currently having a conversation called the MK Veterans Unity Process in an effort to merge the two Umkhonto formations, which is Umkhonto weSizwe Military Veterans, MKVA, led by Kebi Mapadzwe, and the Umkhonto National Council. We're joined now via Zoom by the chairman of the Umkhonto National Council and ambassador to Mozambique, General Sphiwe Nyanda. A very good morning, and thank you so much for making the time to talk to us today.
Good morning, Desiree.
Let's just let you know.
Good morning to the viewers as well.
Thank you very much. And let's just let you know that after our conversation, we'll be talking to the spokesperson of the MKVA, Mr. Carl Niehaus. Now, have the talks begun as directed by the National Working Committee?
Well, what I can say is that the National Council will be having its meeting this evening to consider the instruction from the National Executive Committee or from the officials. We had a meeting yesterday with them where they informed us that they were disbanding both MKVA and MK Council, National Council. And we are going to meet and consider that meeting's report to our NEC. And obviously, we, from our side, welcome that that instruction, because if I may start from the politics of the whole thing, Umkhonto weSizwe, when it was formed by the ANC. Umkhonto weSizwe is a child of the African National Congress. It wouldn't have come into existence if it were not for the ANC and the obduracy or stubbornness of the apartheid regime then, not to yield to the demands of the people of South Africa for universal suffrage, for equality, for freedom. So it was a child of the African National Congress, formed in 1961. And of course, as you said, we are celebrating this year the birth of Umkhonto weSizwe, the anniversary of Umkhonto weSizwe. And we look forward to that celebration together as all veterans of Umkhonto weSizwe. And we take our instructions from the African National Congress, and we therefore, I can say without any equivocation that, of course, the meeting today will support that call by the leadership of the African National Congress to disband the two movements and to expedite the formation of a single veterans organization. And we've been calling for this for some time as well, that the Umkhonto weSizwe veterans must unite in order to take care of the interests of MK veterans. You must remember that when Umkhonto National Council was formed, the MKVA was in existence. And the reason why we formed MK National Council was because of what we perceived was going on in the ANC, the politics that we thought was going wrong in the African National Congress, the whole issue of state capture, which we saw ahead of probably everybody else. Of course, many people in the ANC were aware of it, but we thought that we could deal with it decisively. And we perceived MKVA as part of the problem, as part of this contingent of ANC people or members who were part of the capture of the state, or supportive of all the things that we thought were wrong. And we set ourselves up as MK National Council in order to counter that, because we thought that, and this happened just after the local government elections in 2016. so as to stem the deterioration of the ANC view in the public mind, because we thought that the ANC was working itself towards a precipice, and we as MK veterans, part of the ANC, felt that it is important for us to intervene.
You say that you are happy with the suggested process from the top of the leadership, but does the MKVA also feel that way?
Well, from what I understand, they are not happy, but I wouldn't understand why. In fact, my reading of the situation is that they're actually angry. And it surprises me because we, as I said, are children of the African National Congress. We are a structure of the ANC and are supposed to abide by its strictures and its discipline. And it surprises me why, therefore, they would be unhappy because here it is. And the ANC is responsible for Umkhonto weSizwe veterans currently. The government of South Africa should be responsible for all veterans of the militaries of the country. And the ANC should be responsible for the veterans of itself, Umkhonto weSizwe veterans. And therefore it is taking steps in order to make sure that these veterans are organized so that they access the benefits that must accrue to them. They are a disciplined structure that works for the betterment of veterans.
General Nyanda, you were the chief of the National Defence Force at a time when the big mandate was to merge Umkhonto weSizwe soldiers into the force itself, and issues of benefits then shifted from party to government. Why is it that there's still a conversation of whether veterans will be able to get their benefits or not?
Well, the Defence Force was responsible for the integration of all the militaries, Umkhonto weSizwe, the SADF, the former Homeland Armies, APLA, and so on. That was what we were responsible for. The benefits that accrue to military veterans, of course, we could advocate for, but it was the responsibility. It is the responsibility of government to do that. It was the responsibility of the ANC to ensure that those veterans of itself who were outside the structures of government, were outside the structures of the military, it took care of or ensured that through the processes of parliament and so on, were catered for. But it is really the state's responsibility to take care of all military veterans. And that rests in parliament largely and through parliament to government.
People could say that at a time when the ANC is struggling to keep afloat financially, is this conversation urgent when you look at the list of important things that could be happening within the ANC at the moment?
In fact, I think it is unfortunate because it is a straightforward matter. The African National Congress is responsible for its military veterans. The African National Congress calls on its military veterans to abide by a decision of the leadership, and therefore we should all fall in line. For me, it is as simple as all that, because I am schooled in politics of the African National Congress, and there is no way in which I could even dream of defying anything that the African National Congress says.
So you talk about your previous concerns with the MKVA, and now you're talking about the fact that you are following the prescripts of the organization, and the MKVA is apparently or reportedly unhappy with this mooted decision. When can we expect a decision to come out in terms of will the merger take place or will it not?
Well, I don't think it rests on me. There is a committee that has been set up to facilitate this process. We are going to follow the instructions of the African National Congress, and if that committee calls us to participate in whatever arrangements that it deems necessary in order to get us to a unity situation, then we are going to follow that. And it is up to MKVA also, in my view, to be able to act in the best interests of its people, of its members, or those who claim or who say they are MKVA. Because as far as we are concerned, all genuine former members of Umkhonto weSizwe are now MK veterans, and we will speak on their behalf or will act on their behalf if they let us do so. And I think it is in the interest of MKVA as well to ensure that they act in the interest not of certain leaders within its ranks and act in the interest of all the members that it claims it represents.
So, as I speak to you, we're a day away from the June 16 commemorations in the country. What should young people in the African National Congress think of their elders who are not able to come to agreement on such matters?
No. We are quite happy to be part of the processes that the ANC says we should become. So I don't think that question should be directed to me, really. We are happy to do what the ANC instructs us to do. I think that question you should throw at MKVA, because we have been part of these processes, attempts to unify these two organizations for some time. In fact, at one point we had reached an agreement in May 2017, when MKVA decided to abort the process and unilaterally call their own conference. I don't know, these days they even talk about legitimacy, that they are a legitimate structure, when we know that in fact they had an illegitimate conference, which prompted us to have another conference of ours, which was bigger than their conference in October of that year, where we elected the present leadership of MK National Council. They aborted a situation. I had actually agreed with Kevin Mapatwa that these were the conditions under which we were going to unite, and we even shook hands or shook a hand. And in the presence of the Deputy General Secretary of the ANC at that time. Immediately after that, they reneged on that decision and went to a conference of their own. And there's very little we could do about that. Even now, with this unity, they talk a lot of lies about what happened in this latest process where the Peace and Stability Committee was charged with bringing us together. We had written many letters of complaint, and they say now we withdrew unilaterally. We didn't withdraw. We had spoken to the office of the SG to say these are the things that are happening that we're unhappy about. Yep. We are happy to go to a unity conference anytime that the ANC says we should.
General Nyanda, thank you so much for talking to us this morning. But let's just take this opportunity of having you here to ask you about two matters. The change in guard in the South African National Defence Force that just took place a month ago. Your thoughts about that, but also ask you about the latest in terms of mutiny in Mozambique.
That is now an ambush. If there is a particular legacy that we have as MK in the SANDF, is that there have been several transitions I handed over to General Ngwenya, the former chief of the SANDF, who handed over to General Shoke, and General Shoke has handed over to General Mapwanya. I was invited to that event of the changeover, but unfortunately couldn't come. It was a celebration for me to see this transition. And I think it is a legacy, partly, that I feel I also gave. It's part of the contribution that we gave as a collective of former generals, of former MK generals and other generals from other formations, that we left behind a structure, a defense force that was strong, that started, of course, on a wobbly footing with the integration problems that existed there. And many people left because of the problems that were there, but many people held on. And now we have a structure that I think that the SANDF is very strong, apart from the fact that, of course, the budget of the SANDF has been dwindling over time, and the capabilities of the SANDF have also been waning over a period because of these considerations for others' expenditure by the state. But I think that we left an institution that is intact, that is disciplined, that is worthy of the pride of the South African people. As far as the Mozambican situation is concerned, this ambush, the second ambush, really, I think you know that there have been 3 summits already, and the 4th one is coming in the next few weeks to try to resolve this issue, because the insecurity in the north of Mozambique is not a good thing for Mozambique. It is not a good thing for our country, South Africa. It's not a good thing for the whole region, Zimbabwe, Malawi, and everybody, and Tanzania. So it's something that needs to be resolved, and I hope it will be resolved. The sooner, the better, of course.
Let's thank you again for your time this morning.
Thank you.